a lot of it has been overshadowed by questions over Nigel Farage, over donations, over other issues in the party, not just linked to him, but other people as well. And those questions aren't going away, as you've described. But in terms of what you're asking about Farage's strategy, he will use this by-election result, which is a resounding victory and a good result for him.
Our top story then this morning is the win for Nigel Farage at the by-election in Clacton that he triggered by resigning, of course. He chose, though, not to attend the vote count and declaration due to what he called a credible threat. Let's speak to Anna Mikhailova, Times Radio's political editor. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Calum.
So just bring us up to date, because there's been a bit of back and forth after Farage's claim of a credible threat with the police. Just bring us the latest.
So, I mean, this story's been unfolding over the last couple of hours. I think it's important to clarify that Farage himself didn't say those words. A Reform spokesman did, after Farage said that Essex police had warned him of an organised campaign to disrupt and degrade the result. That was when overnight he said he would not be attending the count. He also added, "I'm damned if I'm going to stand on a stage and be demeaned and humiliated by nobodies." So following that, naturally, we went to Essex Police. Essex Police's initial response was effectively to say, as you'd expect, they won't comment on individual cases and advice, but they wanted to highlight that they were policing and taking steps to ensure the count's safety generally. And then we had the news that Nigel Farage also pulled out of a speech in Clacton that was due to take place later in the morning. And again, I went back to police. They issued a new statement. This time, they've gone a bit further. They said that there was no incidents or issues either yesterday during the voting process or during the count that they could report. They took steps to highlight again what they were doing to effectively police the count. And they also said, "We take the safety and security of our elected officials extremely seriously, and equally we take our policing responsibilities around the democratic process seriously too. The decision of candidates to attend or not attend the election count is a decision for individuals and their security teams." So off the back of that, I mean, I have gone back to Reform since, asking them to clarify why they took the decisions to not attend the count or hold the speech. I haven't had a response. I will obviously update you if that happens.
Yeah, we'd be grateful for that, because as a team at Times Radio, of course, we have been inviting senior members of Reform UK to come and talk to us on air about the win in Clacton and all of these additional issues as well. So far, though, no one has responded to us. A quiet morning for Reform UK in any case. So Anna, that is fascinating, this kind of back and forth, the kind of scrutiny versus threats, claims versus facts that have been kind of emerging. I do wonder how Nigel Farage grips this as a story now, and what he will do through the course of the day if he's cancelled that speech. Is he going to say anything? What will he say? He sort of said, well, the result speaks for itself, but does he just leave it at that? That would seem very unlike Farage, not to sort of bask in it in some way.
Well, he's issued a statement online about the victory. He also, in Clacton overnight, there was something called Farage Fest that he appeared at. And so he has made appearances to his supporters, to his campaigners. And I suspect, my understanding is that he'll be doing more of the same today. He won't be making a public speech and a public statement. And I think what he's going to do politically from now on is trying to shift the narrative back onto trying to criticise the government on policy, on issues like immigration, on crime. There will be, I'm expecting, a series of press conferences and announcements over the rest of the summer leading up to Reform's Party Conference, which is at the start of September, which they've been working very hard on. They want to really land the message that they've come very far, even in a year. And in terms of developing as a party, in terms of appealing to business, trying to establish itself. But course, a lot of it has been overshadowed by questions over Nigel Farage, over donations, over other issues in the party, not just linked to him, but other people as well. And those questions aren't going away, as you've described. But in terms of what you're asking about Farage's strategy, he will use this by-election result, which is a resounding victory and a good result for him. He will use that to say that any more questions on those same donations and issues and investigations by Parliament, they have already been rejected by his voters and his supporters, and he will try and use that to move on, change the conversation, change the narrative.
Anna, thank you very much for the latest update, and we'll keep in touch. Keep us posted if anything moves through the course of the morning. That is Anna Mikhailova, Times Radio's political editor. Just having a little look through your messages on this. Christopher in North Yorkshire says, on Clacton, this was in every sense a farce of a by-election. Christopher says, the people of Clacton are clearly not qualified arbiters on whether parliamentary standards have been observed or not, having seen no evidence and having no authority to sanction any wrongdoers. It makes no difference whatsoever how many votes Farage might have won in an election that needn't have been called in the first place. I don't see why this is so difficult to understand.
Yeah, well, Paul says Nigel Farage appears to be hiding from the press yet again. John asked the question, though, did Nigel Farage get more or less votes, numbers, not percentage, this time than in the first election? That would be a real test for him. Well, on fewer people turning out to vote, Nigel Farage increased the number of votes he got by about 1,000. He got 22,000 votes this time around. So by pretty much every metric you look at, Nigel Farage has had a very successful evening in Clacton.
Yeah, John says as well, as we kind of look forward to what happens now by way of parliamentary process, etc., John says the Clacton result shows a recall petition would be pointless, as despite his financial question marks being known to the electorate, he has been comfortably returned to Parliament. Now, I suppose by way of process, that isn't for the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner that won't influence their work. But John, your point is probably well made. It's not unthinkable that in the months to come we have to do this all again.
And also, I think we should all take note of the fact that it is very difficult to predict what's going to happen in politics. You know, a year ago, it looked most likely if there was going to be a general election, the person who would have been Prime Minister would have been Nigel Farage. And things have shifted. So who knows what could happen in the next few weeks, in the next few months.
And I should say, counterpoint is parliamentary standards could clear him. And then, in that case, what does all of this say about his strategy? He took it to the people of Clacton. They've sent him straight back to Parliament with a resounding victory in this by-election. So if the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner now clears Farage of any wrongdoing, well, what does that do for his kind of national support? And that has to be a question here. He is the leader of a political party. He wants to be the Prime Minister. There are national implications of all of this too.